Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Symphogear G Episode 6. So it's been a few months since we last reacted to Symphogear, and as I mentioned at the time, I wanted to take a break just because at the time I needed time off from something that was as consistently and aggressively heavy as the series has been getting. It's like this season just is balls to the wall, constantly throwing shit at us without really a lot of time to just let up and give us some time to breathe in between. And because of that, with where the last episode ended, with Hibiki being disarmed, uh, I was not in the best emotional state afterwards. It left me to a degree to where I was just I was not okay. I needed to take time off because if I didn't, it would have, without question, made me lose interest in reacting to the series and probably not be willing to pick it up again. It would have just taken way too much out of me emotionally and mentally, and just I would not have been able to handle that. So we took some time off and we replaced it for the time being with the first season of Kid Cosmic, which check it out on the channel if you're interested. I think it was a fantastic, surprisingly fantastic first season there. But we are back, and I have no idea how what's going to happen. Like I said, Hibiki lost her arm. It's like, where do we go from there? Is it? I mean, yeah, people can get limbs and stuff reattached if it's like really quick after they lost it. Um, is that what's going to have to happen here, or are we going to have some kind of like magical healing powers with the Symphogear or something? I don't fucking know at this point. Or fuck it, is Hibiki just gonna end up having a prosthetic arm, like a robotic arm or something? That would be pretty badass. But yeah, it was a very intense place to leave off. And like I said, that's why I left off when I did. It took way too much out of me. I'm in a I'm at a point currently where I think I'll be able to handle it. Where I think I'll be able to go into this a little easier now. Um, but I don't think I don't know how long this is gonna last in terms of the heaviness, because the thing is, with Hibiki losing an arm here, I think what is probably going to happen is this fight's probably going to be finishing up, and we're going to have to be forced to take a little bit of a hiatus from the high action, high intensity shit. Just for Hibiki's recovery, whether her arm is reattached, whether she gets a replacement, whatever happens, there's going to have to be a recovery period here, because not having one would, again, even if things work out, even if there's some kind of magic shit that happens with her arm getting reattached, even if that kind of thing happens, it's like she'll still need like a mental and emotional break. It's like after that kind of thing, you will need to take a break. So I think, especially after how intense these first 5 episodes have been, the series really does need to slow down here. Um, Season one balanced it out a lot better so far. Season two, just as of the first 5 episodes, has really just rushed into just doing as much as possible and being as intense and shocking and wild as it can. And it's like, I understand wanting to continue off of where you like, okay, we did all of this big stuff. We've already had the time for world building and stuff. We don't need to do that as much anymore. But still, sometimes you need to just pull it back a little bit. Like, even Owl House knew this. Owl House, even with season three, following massive events, it's like you would think it would just be go, 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 but no. You see the characters rest and relax and take a break before getting back into the action. The first episode of season three of The Owl House is pretty much that, almost the entire time until the end. We see the characters get to just pull things back and, be kids, not have to deal with world-ending shit. So we kind of need that here. With the first 5 episodes of this being kind of non-stop, just intensity, we need to pull it back. We need a little break from that, even if it's just for a couple episodes. And you can still have the villains in there. You can still have Fine, the organization, not the person, but also maybe the person. Unclear. But you can still have them featured and shown and maybe plotting. But we need to slow down nonetheless. Because it's like, I can dig good action. I can dig really intense shit. Hell, sometimes I just straight up love that kind of thing. But again, you need to handle it properly to where you do need to have a break every once in a while. Otherwise, it's going to be just too much, too constantly. You have to have balance. So, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I think this is going to force an end to the fight. And unless some magical shit happens, they're going to need to escape and, figure things out while we take a break and rest and get Hibiki back into, a good state. But we'll see how it goes. So, let's get into this and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, thank God for magic Symphogear powers, am I right? I would call Deus Ex Machina on this, but it's actually not, because a Deus Ex Machina, it basically has to come out of nowhere, and this actually didn't come out of nowhere. We understand that the Symphogears and relics and all of that are powerful, and we understand that they contain powers that, let's be honest, not even all of this this big organization with all of its resources are going to understand. They're not perfect. It's still humans, There's a margin of error, but there's also a margin of just not understanding everything. So it actually works, the idea that there could be some kind of healing factor, I guess you could call it, in regards to the Symphogears, but especially in regards to specifically what's going on with Hibiki, because we've known that Hibiki was a special case. The way she gained her Symphogear and everything is very different than Tsubasa and Chris and everything. It's a very different kind of situation, so we expected that there would be some differences. It's not a surprise at all that something like this could happen, that something wild and out there and crazy, and you get the gist. It's not this big twist, and it was even one of my theories in the pre-thoughts. I mentioned multiple ideas of what could happen. She could get her arm reattached if it was done quickly enough. She could get a robotic replacement. Or she could, have the magical power healing thing. Though looking back on it, getting her arm reattached would also require her to get the arm out of the Nephilim, which I wasn't really considering at that point, because when I did the pre-thoughts, I hadn't rewatched last episode. I remember what had happened, but I hadn't rewatched it, so I didn't take into account the fact that the Nephilim ate. Well, I knew the Nephilim ate her arm, but it's like it just didn't click with me when I was theorizing and everything. You know what I mean? It's like it's just my head kind of skipped over that little detail. Um, so she would have had to have gotten it back out of the Nephilim somehow, which I don't know how that would have worked, but the more likely options were definitely the robot arm or the healing. And the healing was never something that would have surprised me at this point. So seeing it happen here, yeah, it didn't really even catch me off guard at all. It's just like, oh, okay, so that is what we were doing. Gotcha. Cool. Because it just doesn't feel unnatural for everything that's going on. With all the crazy shit that's happening in this series, it's like I'm not going to draw the line at this practically magical um, Symphogear relic thing being able to regrow body parts. I'm not going to draw the line at that. That's not something that's going to break my immersion. Um, but I'm wondering if she did have to go into her berserker mode to do that. I'm wondering if that it was a requirement of doing it. Either way, we do find out that because the Symphogear is combining with her body more and more as time goes on, it is an active threat to her life. Now, again, we know there's multiple seasons. We know that they're going to figure something out. So I don't know what exactly is going to be done to save her, but we know something is. Um, because of this, though, Tsubasa wants Hibiki to stay far away from battle because she cares about her and she doesn't want her to, die. The less use of her Symphogear, the better. Unfortunately, Tsubasa is also an awkward weirdo, and because of that, she has to do things in the worst way possible. Again, this is something I've seen in a lot of different anime, and not just anime, but just shows in general, movies, games, etc., where it's like, oh, we want to keep this person we care about away from the danger, so we're gonna be as passive aggressive and or just fucking aggressive as possible. It's going to either scare them or just intimidate them or just make them depressed enough to not come near action, and it's going to keep them away from the danger so we can protect them. It's a terrible way of doing it. It's an absolutely fucking stupid and terrible way of doing it. But Subasa's an awkward dummy dumb. So yeah. She's a trauma being herself, like pretty much everyone in this series is. All of our main characters at least. So it's like, yeah, she wouldn't handle this right. Um but I do like that people are questioning shit in this series. Like I like that Tsubasa was questioning how Hibiki's arm was able to be grown back by this all. I like that Chris is questioning Tsubasa's motives and actions here. I like that everyone is questioning why Hibiki is suddenly so freaking down on herself. It all feels natural for these characters to be questioning. And on top of that, we have our trauma beings on the side of Fine, the organization, not the person, but also possibly the person. Um, we have our trauma beings there, our trauma babies, questioning everything too. Maria and the other girls are questioning if this is the right path. And even their mother is even saying that they're all good girls and that she's giving them this burden. And it's like, okay, so you fucking know that you're being terrible and giving them like horrible burdens that you should not be giving them, but you're still gonna do it? That's fucked up. I mean, you could say like, oh, but that means she knows what she's doing is wrong, but that she feels that she has no choice, Or someone might even say that, oh, but that means she believes in what she's doing and she truly thinks it's best for humanity. It's like, I don't care. She's still admitting that she's fucking up these girls' lives for her own selfish intentions. It's like she's she's more self-aware of it, but that doesn't make it okay. That she's still doing it. Like that doesn't change that fact. It's like acknowledging that you're doing something bad without actually stopping doing it means nothing. It'd be like if I was hitting, punching and kicking a kitten and acknowledging that this is wrong, I should probably stop, but then stomping it into a curb or something right after. It's like acknowledging that it was wrong and that I should stop meant nothing because I kept doing it. It was completely pointless because I didn't act on those thoughts. I didn't act on those feelings. If I had acted and stopped kicking and punching the kitten, I don't know why this is the metaphor I'm using, by the way. I don't fucking know. My mind goes to weird places. Um, but if I had stopped doing that, then that would be different because I'm making the active choice to stop being a piece of shit. Um, you get the idea here? Mother is being an absolute piece of shit, and she's acknowledging she's being a piece of shit, but she's not doing anything to change that. She's not doing anything to stop it. She's going to continue being a piece of shit because she believes in what she's doing, I guess. It's like, who the fuck cares? Um, the Nephilim seem to be destroyed, but I guess it's not fully destroyed. And Professor Ver is like just escaping by the skin of his teeth constantly while going more and more insane. Like this dude, like I said in the reaction, his facial expressions are rivaling Higurashi. If you've ever seen the series Higurashi, When They Cry, you know what I'm talking about. It's like those faces were insane. I think there's some crazy faces like that in Code Geass too. I think the specific style of this series might be more comparative to Code Geass in terms of the expressions. Higurashi's a little more exaggerated, to be fair, but still, that's the comparison I like to look towards more because I actually like Higurashi. I don't like Code Geass, so there you have it. Um, but yeah, so there was some heaviness in this episode too, but I was a little more prepared for it, so I was able to withstand it a lot better. But yeah, it's like, okay, at the end here, you're gonna bring in, oh, more noise, Dr. Ver again. Hibiki kind of proving that she and the Symphogear are becoming one, and that she doesn't even need to bring it out right away to be able to punch the noise. It's like, okay, so we're not. Can you give us a single full episode just to rest? Just one. Give me at least just one episode to rest. We don't need to constantly just push and push and push. You could take a break. You can have these characters relax and enjoy their day. Have a fucking beach episode. I don't fucking care. Have a beach episode. Just something. It's better than just like constant stress. The, the creators of the show just need to chill the fuck out for a second. It's like, I get it. You want to have trauma. It's a part of the series. It's a mainstay portion of what this show is about. We get it. These kids are fucked up. But we as viewers should not also be fucked up. Let us just live. Please. uh, I've missed this show. All joking aside and everything, like, as much as I acknowledge I needed these past few months off, as much as I acknowledge how just good of an idea it was just to bring myself back from that, I did miss this show because I do really, really like Symphogear. I feel like I've made that pretty clear in the past, but I want to emphasize it here again now that we're back. I really like this show. It's not the best series I've seen by any means. It's nowhere near the best I've reacted to even. But I still really like it. It's fantastic. The characters are likable, the story is exciting, the action is intense. It's a surprisingly exciting and powerful show that I would have never expected. It genuinely had caught me off guard when I first started reacting to it, and it won me over. It did. Chris alone in season one kept me going for sure. Like Chris is my favorite character. Um, but even beyond her, just everything has just really hooked me in a way that I just would have never expected. Um, so yeah, glad to be back. We'll just continue this as it goes, and after we finish the season, we'll have another break for an indeterminate amount of time until we get to season three. But we will obviously get to season three, unless season two really fucks up at some point and just fucking turns me off of this, which I do not think is going to happen. We will be getting to season three at some point. This is a series I'm pretty locked into. It's not like a priority show like some are for me, but it's one I'm locked into pretty strongly. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Symphogear G? Let me know down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.